Welcome to another episode, everyone. Corcoran State Prison. A member, a gang member, a so-called OG. Well, he was bullying a non-affiliate in the cell. I just talked about non-affiliates and their survival guide in prison and in the Los Angeles County Jail. And I also made mention of the fact that there have been times when black people, often, many times, have stood up for non-affiliates who were being bullied, who was the recipient of predatory behavior by so-called OGs. Because normally that's who it is. It's not a young dude. It's these older dudes, these older heads who are supposed to be teaching these dudes, but instead they exhibit predatory behavior towards these individuals sometimes. But oftentimes we don't stand for it. And since I was just talking about that the other day, this situation came to mind where black people, Bloods and Crips, stood up for a non-affiliate by the name of Teasy. Teasy was a very cool individual and had love, as this OG found out, from everyone on the yard. Teasy was a tall dude, dark brown skin with long hair. He had a long ponytail. And he was out of the LA area. And Teasy was not a coward. You can often find Teasy on the basketball court. He played basketball all day, every day. Back in those days in Corcoran, we were running full court, particularly on the weekends, gambling on the games. It was intense. Everybody used to come over on the yard and watch us play. They had some people who know how to play ball. Casper from 8-9 East Coast was a baller. It was a few of them. My boy from Fresno, from 6 Deuce Diamond, used to play ball every weekend. Teasy was one of the best, if not the best player on the yard. And again, basketball was a big thing on the yard at the time. And he played all the time, and we all respected Teasy, the way that he comported himself. Always cordial, always respectful to everyone in every race. He was intelligent and intellectual of sorts. And he worked out as well. If he wasn't playing ball, then he was over there doing his push-ups and burpees. And was just a cool dude. And you can see that he wasn't weak. He just did not gang bang. But he grew up around the culture, but he's totally, as I said before, he did not straddle the fence. He made it clear he had no allegiance to anyone but black people in general. So we all had love for Teasy. And Teasy was in a cell with another non-affiliate at the time. They were getting along and everything was good. His cellie ended up transferring, going somewhere else. And when his cellie transferred, they put a so-called OG in his cell. He was a Crip. And the OG was maybe 40 years old or so. Hell, at the time I was 21. So he seemed like an ancient dude to me. He seemed like an old dude and someone that I should respect, a real OG. And Teasy was about 22 years old, maybe 23. He was young as well. And the OG hit the yard, turned up. It's like he's walking around the yard a bit aggressive, looking at people. I come to find out it's because he wanted to show Teasy inside of the cell that he had respect on the yard, that he was a dominant figure. So he's coming out to the yard, and I can't understand why he's acting this way, but it's the way he's walking. I've met turned up dude. If he was a non-affiliate, he would be a tuner. He would have been a turned up non-affiliate. But he's a member, and he's older. And yet and still, Even though he's older, he's running around like he's a younger dude. When he's working out, he's yelling, making a big old show. You would have thought that he was Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he was not. He was, he didn't have a lot of size on him. Why are you grunting and hooping and hollering like this? He was trying to draw attention to himself. And I couldn't get with that. But to each his own, it was not any of my business. Corcoran, it's a level 3 at this time. And it's a cutthroat prison, as I have alluded to before. The COs, well, they are deleting people. Stabbings are happening, even though it's a level 3 yard. And they have some heavy hitters here who adhere to a certain structure. And they're not going to let this dude fresh on the yard come and be aggressive and act like you're running the yard and you just got here. That's a problem. But everyone is just continuing on with their day-to-day business. It's enough tension on the yard as it is. There's no need to cause any more drama, any unnecessary drama. Someone wants to come on the yard and act tough, just keep that shit to yourself. Don't bring it over this way, or you're going to get a rude awakening. Then one day, Teasy comes out to the yard, and he's emotional. He's upset. He's nearly in tears. And he's over there talking to the Bloods. And again, every group had love for Teasy. Bloods, Crips, it doesn't matter. I had love for Teasy. And so everybody's wondering what's going on. We sort of see it on the yard with him. He's like walking, pacing back and forth. And a couple of the Bloods come over there and holler at us and say that the dude that's in the cell with Teasy, this OG Crip that just pulled up a week or so ago and got in a cell with Teasy, well, he's been in there bullying Teasy. He came in there and tried to make Teasy get on the top bunk from the very beginning. The day that he walked in there, he told Teasy, the bottom bunk is mine, you have to get on the top bunk. Now, there are certain rules and protocols to who gets on the top bunk and who's on the bottom bunk. And it's based on a few things. I'll get into that some other time. But it's not mandatory, and it's not, a given that an older dude comes in and just gets the top bunk because he's older. Sometimes we defer to an older gentleman because he's older. And if you're young, 22 years old like Teasy is, sometimes you go ahead and get on the top bunk. You still have spirit in your bones, strength in your legs. You can jump up and down. This old man cannot. But it's not mandatory. He's not that old. This dude in particular, he's 40 years old or so. Could even be 38 or 39. In decent enough shape. And so Teasy had told him, no, that he wasn't going to get on the top bunk. Teasy thought from the beginning, because of the dude's tone, that he was trying to bully him. He didn't necessarily ask him in a gentleman-like fashion. He was not being diplomatic. He instead was demanding. His tone was demanding, according to Teasy. Get on the top bunk, bro. Like that. Just walked in the cell. After he hit Teasy up, found out that Teasy did not gangbang, that he was a non-affiliate. As I've said before, some people are quick to jump on these non-affiliates because they know that they are alone. They don't have a faction. They don't have backup. That's not always the case. This dude had just hit the yard and had not done his homework. Don't know who's on this yard, what's going on, how long Teasy has been here, who has love for Teasy. But he don't know anything. He's just coming saying, I'm a bully, I'm a member. This dude is not. He in here with this long hair, all tall, skinny dude. Who the hell he think? Man, get your ass on the top bunk. He's really testing Teasy. Because if Teasy gets on the top bunk, who knows what ends up happening later on that night in that cell. But Teasy stood his ground and said, I ain't getting on the top bunk. And dude let it go. He got on the top bunk. Which shows you just have to stand your ground. But as the days went on, clearly this so-called OG Crip dude is perturbed. He's irritated by the whole situation of him having to get on the top bunk and Teasy not bowing down and stand on the bottom bunk. Teasy says that when he came in from the yard to the cell one day, that some of his food was missing. The so-called OG had sat there and made a spread, helped himself to Teasy's bags, his commissary, his canteen, soups, chips, tuna, sausages. Sat there and made himself a big old bowl. Got every ingredient that you can name, hooked it up. And then, according to Teasy, washed it down with a honey bun, a cupcake. Ate a big old bowl of a spread and then had himself some dessert all on Teasy. Well, Teasy wasn't happy about this. So Teasy confronted him. Teasy's a non-affiliate and hasn't had much experience in prison, being 22 years old. He hasn't been to a level 4 yard or any of this yet. This OG has. But Teasy still understands the rules. He still knows that this isn't right. That you can't go on someone else's property. You can't go on someone else's bag, their personal belongings. And then not only can you not go in there, that's a violation in and of itself. You certainly can't go in there and take something out that doesn't belong to you, that belongs to this other person. That's stealing. And then you take it out and then you consume it, you eat the stuff. People have really gotten battered over stuff like this. And this OG, well, he's really cruising for a bruising. He's asking for it. But Teasy, as the OG has suspected, he had a long temper. He was patient. Whereas someone else may have been split this dude's head open, he knew that Teasy wasn't going to be, so apt to do so because he doesn't have backup. And this dude is a member. And so he judged Teasy from the beginning and he's taking advantage of him. But Teasy is getting to the point where he doesn't want to be in the cell with the dude anymore. So he just tells the dude, I'm going to move out of the cell, bro. You can have the cell, you can have the bottom bunk. I'm going to move out. You don't respect me, you don't respect my stuff. Now, Teasy said that he didn't want to start anything. So this is why he has not come out to the yard until now and said anything about what's been going on. But now he said he's thinking that he's going to have to do something to defend himself or get out of the cell. If you guys can't move me out of the cell, I'm going to have to defend myself because dude is becoming more and more aggressive. Since I let him get away with a couple of things, now he's talking to me strange, making strange comments of a predatory nature. Teasy is beginning to think this dude is going to try me one day in his cell. So he's just trying to get out of the cell before this happens. And this is why he's on the yard and he's upset because now dude is talking to him in a predatory nature. He's taking his food and eating it right in front of him. Teasy said one time he came inside of the cell and the dude was laying on his bunk. And he said, man, my bad. I was just tired. I ain't feel like jumping on the top bunk. I told you, give me the bottom bunk. I wouldn't have to lay on your bunk. But then he did get off of the bunk and jumped on his bunk, when Teasy came in the cell and confronted him. But why are you laying on another man's bed? That's not your bed. Unless that's your boy, That's your celly and that's your boy. Like my boy, you sit on my bed or whatever. My celly sit on the bed. I'm sitting right here. He sit right there. We watching TV, you know. But that's not what's going on here. You laying on the bed because you trying to take this bunk. You trying to punk this dude. You trying to dominate the cell, and you're trying to humiliate this man. And TZ was fed up, and he wanted to make a move. He just wanted to get out of the cell. And so this is what the Bloods are over there telling us. So we called TZ over there, and TZ ran everything down that I just ran down. He confirmed everything. Yeah, the dude been eating my food, laying on my bunk. Now he's making, comments towards me that are of a suspicious nature, having me thinking that he's about to try me, bro. He's trying to groom me, And, I know he's a Crip, man, so I ain't done nothing. I ain't no coward, though, bro. That's why I ain't give him my bunk. We like, man, we know you ain't no coward, TZ. You know what I'm saying? This dude, but he, TZ's upset, bro. I ain't saying he was crying, but it looked like he was about to cry. Not because he was scared, just because he couldn't believe his brother was doing this to him. And all he's done on the yard is just be cool with all the brothers. And he thought that we gonna protect him. So we like, no, we are gonna protect you, TZ. We didn't know about any of this shit. You just now telling us. You know what I'm saying? I don't like this dude anyway, in the yard being aggressive. But beyond that, we're not gonna sit back and allow you to victimize our people. We standing together on this yard. We need each other. TZ hasn't done anything. Man, who the fuck are you? Old smoker, come hit in the yard, want to bully this youngster, bro. Take his stuff and try to make him get on the top bunk. No. So we got at the OG quickly, that same right there, immediately, and told him, don't say nothing else to TZ. Don't do nothing else to TZ. We're going to move you out of the cell. We're not moving TZ out of the cell. TZ's been in that cell. You just came and got that cell. We moving you out of the cell. TZ, you ain't got to go nowhere. Because TZ was saying, man, I'm just going to move. I want to move. He was telling the OG he was going to move. That OG can just have the bottom bunked in. Like, man, you ain't going nowhere. That's your cell. That's like, man, ain't nobody finna come in my cell and we not getting along and then I leave. No, you finna get the fuck up out of here. You just came in my cell. You finna get up out of here, bro. Believe that. Not me. The fuck? Where the hell am I going? This my shit. You getting up out of here. All right, I'm gonna split your shit open. I ain't going nowhere, though. And TZ not going anywhere easy either. This is his cell. So we told the OG, bro, you got to move about the cell. That's it. He's trying to explain. He like, man, I was hungry that day. I ain't trying to bully that youngster. Man, why you out here saying that? But even the way he getting at TZ right now, like, man, you tripping, bro, out here saying that shit. I ain't trying to bully you. I was hungry. I can't eat a soup. I'm hungry. Like, man, no, you can't, bro. You can't just go in this shit. You wouldn't have went in my shit. So, no, you can't. He's trying to justify it. He's trying to say that he's not a predator, that he's not trying to bully this dude. But it was clear to me, even with his tone right then, that he was. TZ's not making this stuff up. TZ don't bother anyone. So I don't like this dude's tone. And I'm not the only one. Everyone is not liking his tone. So he like, and me moving out the cell, this is what he said, me moving out the cell, bro, I ain't no PC. Ain't nobody just gonna move me out of no cell. You know what I'm saying? He can move. Right now, he ain't moving nowhere, bro. That's his cell. You're gonna move. Y'all not getting along. You in here trying to bully him as far as we're concerned. I say I'm not bullying him. Yeah, we saying that you are. So you gotta move. So basically, he's standing his ground. Like he ain't moving. He trying to get to TZ. He wants to stand there and try to break him down. He's trying to groom him. I know what this dude is up to. And he thinks he has the support of his homeboys, but he doesn't. So we're like, all right, man, cool, whatever. Just stay away, don't touch him. Keep your hands off up. But the decision was already made. I'm already looking at everybody. We all looking at each other like, we finna crash this dude. He finna go. And we looking at his homeboys. Like, what's up? Y'all supporting this shit? Y'all supporting him being a bully and a predator? Because we'll crash all y'all. You know what I'm saying? But we certainly about to crash him. And y'all need to be a part of it. This y'all boy. Y'all see what's going on? He's flouting the rules. He's in violation of a protocol. He's bullying our own people. He's trying to be a predator against our own people, against a youngster, against a 22-year-old little kid. Look, he's a man, but he don't know nothing about this shit. This OG, instead of being in the cell lacing him, is in there eating his food, taking his shit, trying to take his fucking bottom bunk, bro. And now making these suggestive comments towards him. And then when we tell him about it, he wants to get aggressive with the dude right in front of us, letting us know that what he's saying is accurate. And his homeboy's like, yo, man, we with y'all. We agree, bro. We not feeling that shit either. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, okay. Good. Let's get him. It didn't take long. The next morning at breakfast, on the way to chow, about 2 Crips, they attacked the so-called OG. And they indeed had weapons. But that wasn't it. The Bloods attacked them as well. They jumped in. Now, I hadn't really saw this before. But since Teezy had come to the Bloods and explained to them what had happened, and everyone agreed that this was a black thing, that it was someone that was trying to bully a brother, that whatever happens to him or whoever gets involved, that's just what it is, bro. It's not a situation where, you know, y'all handle y'all homeboy. It's a situation where the blacks in general are upset with what he's done and what he's trying to do. Damn where you from. It's really just a black thing at this point. But it was mainly the Crips that was on him. But a Blood jumped in and got a lick or two. A non-affiliate jumped in and got this dude. It was like a stump out. It was a bloody removal. And a lot of people in the yard was involved because everyone was indignant, upset about the shit that he was doing. And no one cared about where he was from and the politics of it all, that we're supposed to let your people handle it. No. In this situation, everyone's going to get involved, bro, because you're trying to bully one of ours. He belongs to all of us. He belongs to all of us. He's a part of all of our cars. He's a part of the community. He's a part of our culture. He's a part of this yard. He's been on this yard, comfortable, taking care of business, showing up when necessary. We know him. We love him. We don't know you. You're not comfortable around here. You just got here. And you hit the yard on the wrong note, being strong and aggressive, showing out. Now we see why. You're trying to impress Teezy, trying to show Teezy in that cell that you some type of big dog. So he has to bow down to you. Look how the dudes on the yard bowing down to me. You got to bow down in the cell. No. Nah, man. So OG, he left the yard bruised and battered. He had stab wounds. His own homie stabbed him. They stabbed him for being a bully, for being a predator, and for when being confronted, because he, even with all that he had done, he really still had a chance to just leave the cell. We told him we're just gonna move you somewhere else. And he'd have been good. Gonna put him in a cell with somebody that's not about to go for that. One of his own homies, whatever, but he finna leave the cell. But he said he wasn't going nowhere. He basically telling us he ain't going nowhere. All right, man. You think you're gonna stand here and really abuse this dude? No. Gonna bust your head open, bro. And that's what happened. And he left the yard a bloody mess. for playing these games. So we will stand up for our people against whomever. We're not going to tolerate this bullying and predatory behavior against someone who cannot defend himself, or you think he cannot defend himself. You think he won't defend himself because of his isolation. Well, he's not isolated. He has a lot of backup. He has way more backup than you. We all got his back. Silly. And the message was sent to him and others that if you exercise this sort of predatory behavior against your own brethren, then there are consequences. And he found that out, as many do, the hard way, suffered his consequences, and never heard from that sucker again. Never wanted to hear from him again or see him again. Because he's a sick one, and we don't respect that. Stay safe and stay free, people.